So today we're going to be taking a look at Armani Code and all of its flankers, or at least most of its flankers. I did go through and grab a few of the discontinued ones off of eBay, just kind of the ones that caught my eye, but I didn't really try to track down all of them. The prices on some of these discontinued ones were just outrageous, and I really didn't feel like spending the money on it. So this buying guide is going to be mostly based on the in-production flankers, along with a few discontinued ones. And of course, yes, we are back with another fragrance buying guide video. You guys have really started to love this series. I get a lot of comments saying that you guys are looking forward to another buying guide, or you'll be requesting a buying guide on this line or that line. So I really do appreciate the support on this. I started it in order to be able to help you guys make a informed purchasing decision when taking a look at these more intimidating, larger fragrance lines. So I'm glad that this is helping you out. And a lot of these video ideas and suggestions do come from you, so let me know down in the comments, what is a fragrance line that you want me to do a buying guide on? I will leave a link down below to the playlist and also up here in the cards as well, so you can look through the playlist, see what I've done already, and if there's something missing that you want to see, drop it down in the comments. And I'm also going to link to the in production and maybe some of the discontinued flankers down below in the video description as well. So if you want to grab them at a discount, you know what to do. So Armani Code has leather, star anise, and tonka bean as some of the main notes. So it's masculine, it's leathery, it's a bit creamy from the tonka bean. You get this just overall masculine, sexy, clean, and sophisticated, well put together and well-rounded type of scent. Chances are at some point in your life you have smelled Armani Code. Yeah, it is that popular. This fragrance is was very successful. When it first came out, everyone was wearing it. It was kind of like almost the 1 million in Dior Sauvage at the time that it was released. Of course, nowadays you're hearing more about Profumo and Absolu, and we'll get to those in a minute. You don't hear as much about the original. There's a bit of a warm, seductive, oriental spiciness about this fragrance, and I think that's what kind of set it apart and made it different when it first came out, and I think that's why so many people were drawn to it. Personally, and this is just my opinion, a lot of the other flankers we have now are far superior to the original, and that's why I would say in most instances you would be best off skipping the original and diving into some of the flankers if you are new to the DNA. If you're someone who was around when this first came out and you wore it all the time and you want to buy it again for nostalgia purposes because you like it, go for it. But someone who's newer to the collecting hobby, you may want to just hold off on the original and dive into the flankers first. If you want to come back around and grab this to have a complete collection, you can do so, but I would say the newer flankers have much more to offer. But of course, this is where it all started. You have to give it credit. This scent was and is still very popular, very successful. Basically, everyone knows Armani Code. Let's go ahead and jump into a flanker. I'm not going to do this in any particular order. I do believe I'm going to have these ranked where we're going to cover all of the in-production ones first, and then at the end of the video, I'll throw in a few discontinued ones. So that's kind of the order we're going off of. I'm not going off of order of release date or anything like that. They're just kind of in here in whatever way I wanted to do it. So, of course, this one is Armani Code Profumo. Tonka bean, amber, and leather are some of the main notes. So even though initially it may sound like it has a pretty similar note breakdown to the original, I find that in terms of scent, it is quite a bit different. You still do get hints and touches and, different facets of the original Armani Code in here. But with this one, Profumo, you get a lot more sweetness, a lot more of a playfulness, a bit more of a evening out sexiness. This one just is much more strong overall. And an interesting thing you'll hear about this one is some people will say that it kind of has a root beer fizziness in the opening, like a root beer, type of smell when you first spray it on. And to some extent, you do pick up on that, just kind of giving it a fizziness, a brightness, and a bit of a sweetness. I would say that Profumo is probably the most popular and the most successful flanker as of right now. This one was getting a lot of hype. This one was really getting pushed. A lot of people were talking about it, and for good reason. This really does smell fantastic, and it does have that nighttime clubbing type of vibe about it, and a lot of people are drawn to that. For the younger crowd out there, Armani Code Profumo is a must-have. It's definitely one to consider. But if you are an office guy or a work guy, you would probably be best off sticking with something like the original Code or some of the other flankers, which we'll cover in a minute. This one, again, is more playful, is more loud, is more youthful. Performance on this one is fantastic, and that's another reason why it is so popular. It's an easy 10+ hour scent in longevity and also very strong projection. Again, that's why this one is known for being a good clubbing type of scent. It is loud and strong all the way through. Great powerhouse scent, coming in at a bit of a higher price tag, but definitely not a niche pricing, which is honestly, you can get this one for a pretty good value on discounters. Moving along, we have Armani Code Absolu. Vanilla, suede, and tonka bean are some of the main notes in this one. Now, Armani Code Absolu absolutely took me by surprise, and I didn't even mean to do that either, it just kind of came out, but this one really did take me by surprise when it first came out. I still remember, I paid for it at full retail as soon as it became available on, I think probably Macy's or some retailer, because I got it obviously before it hit discounters, and I remembered not really expecting a whole lot out of it. I knew it was going to smell pleasant for sure, because it's an Armani and it's a Code flanker. But I remember spraying it for the first time and just being like, wow, like that is really, really impressive. You get a nice sweetness and creaminess from the vanilla, a bit of a masculine texture from the suede, and a lot of a sweetness and a powderiness from the tonka bean. I believe there's a little bit of a creamy orange in the opening as well. All in all, I find this one to be fantastic. For wintertime, it is a killer scent. What I also like about this one is that it's a bit more grown up and a bit more mature and maybe a bit more versatile than Profumo. Again, Profumo is very playful and younger smelling. This one is kind of like Profumo's older brother. It's a bit more refined. It's a bit more smooth in terms of its delivery. And I find that Absolu is just overall a bit easier to pull off because it's not quite as obnoxiously loud. It still does have good performance, a good 8-9+ hour scent, and solid projection as well. In the winter air, it works fantastic. This one here, while I normally save this to the end of the video, is one of my favorites. I love this scent. Moving along, we have a fresher option here. This one is Armani Code Colonia. Amberwood, tonka bean, and bergamot are some of the main notes. So of course, the tonka bean note, which is very popular in the line, is sticking through to this one with the addition of amberwood, which is kind of giving off an ambergris fuzziness and sweetness. And then of course, a nice fresh bergamot. Personally, I find that there's a little bit of a watery feel out of this one, and that's likely probably coming from the amberwood here. It's not aquatic, but in the dry down and smelling it off the atomizer, it has maybe more so a watery texture rather than maybe a straight up watery type of smell. So it's not marine, it's not aquatic, it's just a lighter version of the original Code, essentially, with a bit more of a modern take. And that modern take is coming from the ambroxan that's going on in here. While this one may sound very, very boring, I actually really like this flanker as well. I think it's a nice option if you want an Armani Code style scent for the summertime. For me, I love wearing Absolu and even Profumo in the fall and winter time, and I'll find myself kind of craving something similar to that in the spring and summer, and this is as close as I can get without wearing those and them being way too sweet. If I want my Armani Code type of fix for the summertime, this is what I go with. I find there's a lot of uses for this one. It's the most affordable Code on discounters for the most part because it's just going to be a fresher one. It's less desirable, that sort of thing. So the prices are lower. It's easier to get it on, a better deal, and it's worth to have around. Very wearable, very versatile. Good compliment getter, good performer as well, 6-7 hours, a bit longer than that, and solid projection as well, especially in the heat. Moving along, we have Armani Code Eau de Parfum, the new 2021 release. Lavender, tonka bean, and vanilla are some of the main notes. So the easiest way to put this one, I've done videos on it before, is that this is a stronger, enhanced version of the original Code. And that, I think, is amazing. Again, I was telling you in the beginning, the original Code may be worth skipping nowadays, and that is because the performance does lack on it anymore, and a lot of the other flankers are better, this one included. It's a bit more rich, it's a bit more strong in terms of just the scent profile, but also in performance as well. I get every bit of 8+ hours out of this one. It's a good projector as well, and I would 100% recommend you get this new Eau de Parfum over the original Code. It's just an improvement. Moving along, we have Armani Code Absolu gold. Tonka bean, iris, and saffron are some of the main notes. So it's a little bit of a differentiation here between this one and the original Absolu and also the original Code. You get a bit of an oriental type of touch from the saffron and a nice kind of a fresh, creamy floral from the iris. It still does have that original Absolu DNA and overall smell here, just with a bit more of a maybe luxurious, unique approach. I do believe this is a limited edition, although I could be wrong. To me, it seems like it's marketed more as a limited edition just because you do have the all gold bottle and it is kind of a flanker of a flanker of a flanker. So it's just kind of one of those weird things. I find it to be nice, but I personally do prefer the original Code, but it still does smell great. It's a good performer, it's got good longevity and good projection, just about on par with the original. So really in this situation, it would be take your pick, whichever one you like the smell of better. The original Absolu or Absolu Gold is the one you should go with. That's going to be up to you. So let's check out one that doesn't get too much love and talk anymore. This one is Code A-List. Tonka bean, orange, and Gaiac wood are some of the main notes in this one. So it opens up with the creamy orange and Tonka bean mixture, very popular, with the Gaiac wood just giving you overall a nice, fresh, light, woody feel. It's not like a cedar wood where it's strong and dry and peppery. It's not like necessarily a sandalwood where it's more smooth and creamy. You know, it's just kind of a woodiness. It's almost like a lighter, watery type of woodiness, if that makes any sort of sense. You know, it's different. And while this one is a flanker, it still does very much share a similarity to the original Code, just with a bit more of a creaminess and a sweetness. That's really the easiest way to put it. Performance is in the average range on this one. Nothing really crazy to write home about, and the other flankers do perform better. You get a good 6-7 hours or so out of this one in moderate projection. Not a bad flanker, but the others, in my opinion, are better and are more worthwhile than A-List. So let's go ahead and move on to the discontinued ones. Again, there are two of them here. First up, we have Armani Code Ice. This one really caught my eye, so I did end up paying, you know, an inflated price, but I am glad that I have it here to share with you guys. Mint, ginger, and woody notes are some of the main notes, and I have to say, I really like Armani Code Ice. This smells great. You get that mint up top, you get that spicy ginger, so it opens up kind of green, fresh, and summery, but it's not straight up, you know, a freshie. You know, it still has that Code DNA in here, that kind of sweet spiciness, just with a fresher, lighter take. It's nothing like Colonia, because Colonia has that ambroxan and that more modern touch. This is simply just the original Armani Code with a nice zesty mint, nice green mint, and a nice kind of sparkling ginger top note. Really, it's a shame that they got rid of this one and discontinued it, because I would see myself reaching for this a lot in the spring and summertime. This is actually really good. And last up, we have Armani Code Golden Edition. So I picked this one up just to see what it was all about, and it's quite interesting because we have a few other gold bottles in here as well, but this one is not to be confused with those. It is a limited edition for the original Code, and it is not in production anymore. Leather, olive blossom, and Gaiac wood are some of the main notes. For me, I find this one is simply even stronger on the leather and is just much more rich, much more full-bodied, and less designer and mass appealing than the original Code. That one, of course, is going to be created for the masses, so basically everyone will like the smell of it. This one gives you a bit more of a different take, a bit more of an artistic feel. That leather spiciness smells great, and it is a nice different twist on the original Code. Ultimately, I do see why this was just kind of a limited edition, discontinued, one-off type of thing, because it's not going to sell in the market like the original. But it is a nice little collector's piece to have, and it is a nice take on the original DNA. I wouldn't say that it's worth going and hunting down, though. It's just not really worth it. You have so many others you can choose from here where you don't have to pay an inflated price. So we're down to the end of the video where I'm going to tell you guys my favorites. Which ones do I think are worth picking up? So just to run through them really quickly here, Armani Code Absolu is my favorite. I love everything about that fragrance. For fall and winter time, it is one of the best, and you would be hard-pressed to find something that is as good as Armani Code Absolu in the cooler weather, in my opinion. It works so well. Up next after that, Profumo is still a really good buy, even in today's standards. I think it's a great scent, even still. Moving along after that, Colonia. Colonia is fantastic. It kind of got swept under the rug. It's not really well regarded in the community, but I think it is a solid option if you want Armani Code in the summertime. It's got the mass appeal, it's got good performance, it's got the versatility, it just works. And I know we have a lot of fragrances out there that just work, but hey, what's one more with a nice Armani Code twist? I think Colonia is pretty good and doesn't quite deserve all of the hate that it gets. And last up, the newest Armani Code Eau de Parfum. Great revision of that original code, which started it all and is pretty weak nowadays. If you want something that has really good performance, so kind of restores that performance and also adds a bit more depth and richness, the new Eau de Parfum is a really nice option as well. So guys, that's going to do it for me. That was the Armani Code buying guide. Not quite all of them. There was a few discontinued ones that I just didn't want to spend a few $100s on per bottle. So I kind of left those out, but I did cover all of the current in production ones and did throw in a couple limited editions as well. But those just really don't do a whole lot. I buy them for basically this one video and then they just sit there. So when I can pick them up and do it for the videos every now and then, I will. But there's some lines out there where so many are discontinued that it would just be, kind of a hard financial decision to go through and buy all the discontinued ones when they're going for 150 plus per bottle on eBay. And that just is, I'm not going to be able to financially recover from that. And give me a like for that extremely old and overused meme. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your favorite Armani Code down below in the comments, along with any other buying guides you want to see. And also remember, if you want to grab any of these, they will be linked down below as well. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.